Hello everybody and welcome to the Hive Herald Network. If this is your first visit or if you've watched some of our previous tester videos, I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in. This is a quick video introducing yourselves to the background of our campaign that's coming up in the area, the campaign for Wyketon Falls. As we have 6 players in the campaign, 3 of which are very new, we've simplified the rules and are going for a straightforward Dominion campaign and ignoring rules such as law and misrule and the illegal trade. I hope you like it. Please leave comments, subscribe and let me know what you think. You can message us on Instagram or you can message us in the comments on YouTube. Travelling from the Iron Crag settlement to the Ash Storm Observatory, working the Cinderite crater with a precious load of needed corpse starch, Rufus, a Guild of Coin veteran haulier of 5 lunar rotations, spotted a column of dust plumes a few miles ahead on the road around the Roots Narrow Canyon Pass. Expecting an ambush, he checked all the gauges in the cockpit of his ridge hauler, repeated loudly to himself, "Temperature good, fuel good, boosters fully charged. Not today, you ain't catching old Roofy in the land train." He activated the crew comlink and shouted a warning, "Commotion ahead, boys, get your heads on the swivel and ready the guns." The crew popped the hatches all along the vehicle and took control of the heavy stubbers mounted along the roof's trailers and prepared for action. The land train was an impressive beast hauling 4 trailers, and yet despite the sheer size and weight of the load, she glided through the ash wastes at high speed and bristled with enough guns to take down a small army. Taking this train wasn't going to be easy, but this is the ash wastes. After a few minutes, Dominique, the hauler's co-pilot, turned to Rufus and said, "You getting jumpy in your old age, Roofy?" And with a wry smile on her face, she returned to looking ahead at the road. Moments later, "Contact!" shouted a gunner on the roof of the second trailer before his face exploded under the impact of a high-velocity long rifle round. Rufus's instincts were right. A large warband of nomads lined the canyon walls looking for easy prey. He pushed the engines of his ridge hauler harder and screamed, "All weapons fire!" A cacophony of explosions followed as high-powered stubber rounds flew in all directions, tearing would-be ambushers to shreds, forcing the nomads into cover to prevent being torn to pieces. Rufus smiled. He knew the train wasn't getting stopped today, not with old Roofy at the wheel, he thought. As the hauler approached a bend in the canyon, Rufus had to suddenly ease off the throttle. The rail trap was a mile or so up ahead. The road had been blocked by a landslide and huge rocks were full of nomads waiting to strike. Within moments of taking the turn, the hauler was peppered with sniper rounds and raked by multiple blasts from a few charge casters. A huge ripple of explosions rocked the hauler, causing Rufus's head to smash into the steel wall of the cab, causing him to see stars and taste the iron tang of blood in his mouth. Then he felt the resistance of his load lighten and he knew that heavy damage had been sustained. Maybe they'd lost the trailer. "Report!" he shouted to Dominique. "Report!" After a moment he turned to look at her and began to repeat himself, "Report!" He stopped as he realised the cab had been torn open and all that was left of Dominique was a smoking corpse. Not wanting to share her fate, Rufus quickly surveyed the canyon as he needed an exit plan quickly. The landslide trap was too great even for the train to push through. The pass too narrow to make a U-turn, and if he stopped to try and make a turn, they'd be overrun in seconds. Desperately scanning, he spotted a small wooden palisade gate to the left side of the landslide. Why had he never seen this before? Was it another trap? It mattered not. If they were to survive this, the only chance would be to push through. He gunned the hauler for the gate and hoped he could push through and that the route behind was clear, or this would be the end of old Roofy. "Brace yourselves!" he shouted and steered towards a group of 5 nomads in the way of the hauler and its new goal. He allowed himself a small smile as he heard their screams whilst grinding them to paste under the vehicle's huge wheels. The moment was here, and with a huge crash, the land train pushed through the huge palisade gate, smashing it to pieces. Expecting a wall behind, he sighed a relief when he found himself driving straight through a new canyon and away from the nomad ambush. After a few minutes, the enemy firing had stopped. Clear at last, Rufus thought. He needed to find out just how much damage they had sustained. He needed a rest, his head was bleeding from it crashing into the cab earlier, and he was sure he'd taken some shrapnel to the shoulder. Ahead he could see a sign for a settlement, and he pushed towards it and the safety it offered. Approaching the sign, he saw it was for Wyketon Falls. It can't be. Once thought lost in a great ash storm, Wyketon Falls hadn't been heard from for over 2 lunar cycles when the old trade route collapsed and it was believed lost. This discovery could change everything in the region. The plunder alone would be substantial for anyone willing to battle the elements and make the journey. The prestige to be gained in taking control would be huge for any of the houses. The dominion of Wyketon was about to begin. So after lots of random selection, here is the map and the campaign tiles being used. They are from the Dominion campaign, and the tiles are 3D printed by myself, and they are available from Popov Laboratories. Again, I'll try and put a link in the comments. We had the 3D map to add that extra bit of fantastic flavour to the campaign, and as the campaign goes on, I will update you with who's in control of what and any bonuses, etc. that the territories may offer. Taking part in the campaign, we have the following gangs. From the House of Iron and the Great House Orlok, represented on the campaign map in orange, we have the Iron Hounds. From the House of Change and the Great House Goliath, we have the Warrior Hellbanes, represented on the map in red. From the House of Blades, House Escher, represented in pink, we have the Crimson Blades. From the House of Faith and the Great House Cawdor, we have, represented in yellow, the Emperor's Furies. From the Book of Ruin and represented in black, we have the uprising of the Corpse Grinder Cult, Mortal Remains Collective. And lastly, from the Book of Judgment, upholding Helnoir's justice, we have the Department of the Iron Fists, the Enforcers. Who will win and which of the great houses will rule Wyketon Falls at the end of our campaign? If you'd like to find out, subscribe to the channel. I aim to release 2 battle reports every month, and the hope is to try and release more as we go on. We're a group that get together once a month, play as many games as we can, however we try and keep it fair and even. We're not power players, we play for fun, we play to be casual, and we try to enjoy the game and the story of Necromunda as much as we can. If you have any suggestions or ideas, please message me on Instagram or again leave a comment. And thanks for tuning in, and welcome again to the Hive Herald Network.